Oh, I wonder. People could hear me ring the bell in the back room. Okay. Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I am your president, Courtney Piccolo, and as you know, we start off all of our meetings by reciting the four-way test. If you would please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Today, our opening song, The Star-Spangled Banner, and the pledge will be led by Steve Feldman, followed by the invocation with past President Aaron Jacobs, and visitor introductions by Ophelia Chambliss.
Had to look to see where the flag was. Okay. Please join me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I go into the prayer, I just want to be the first to say congratulations to Courtney, Lynn, leadership, and the Country Club of York for pulling off this transition. They deserve a round of applause. And I, for one, think I like this better because I can say my prayers, go to the bathroom, and grab my dessert in less than 20 paces. That's an efficient meeting. That was fun. Please join me in prayer. Dear God, we give you thanks for allowing us to join together today in fellowship. And we ask, Lord, that we know that some of us come today with struggles in our hearts and troubles in our minds. And because we know and we pray to you that things will be okay, that you will assuage these concerns that we have because you make promises come true. We pray that you bless the fellowship, the meal, and those who prepared it. We ask that you bless the presentation and those who present it. And we ask that you bless our club, its mission and membership, with a keen prayer for those members who cannot join us today, whether it's due to space, being away, or just not feeling well. All this we ask in your name, amen.
So I'm pleased to have the honor of introducing our guests for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Courtney has welcomed you. Chris Beaverson, guest of past district president, I'm sorry, I think I got that wrong, Doug Berman. Di Hershey, past President Di Hershey, guest of past President Jody Keller. Brian Mole, guest of Joan Mummert. Krista Blazer, guest of Matt Summer. Sarah Doyle, guest of Matt Summer. Thomas Burns, guest of Jeff Vermillion, and Cora Taylor, guest of Andy Rowitz.
On behalf of our Rotary Club, I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to all of our visitors today. It's always a pleasure to have new faces join us, whether you've been here, this is your first time, or whether returning or a previous member. Rotary is all about connecting, serving, and making positive impact in our community and beyond, and we're excited to have you all here with us today. Rotarians, please help me join in welcoming our visitors for today. All right, and now for some announcements. So again, as Aaron said, thank you guys all for your patience today as we work through this first meeting with the sound and the technology. There's a lot of moving parts, and we promise that we will do everything we can to perfect it as we move forward these next couple months as we're going through the renovations. The Rotary Club Board of Directors is going to be meeting tomorrow at 8 a.m. on Zoom. The Fundraising Projects Committee will meet on Friday, January 10th at 8:30 a.m. on Zoom. And I have some exciting news to share with you today. Rotarians Fran Polk and past District Governor Ben Hoover are now engaged to be married. Where are they? Back in the back here. So yes. Oh, and they sealed it with a kiss for those that couldn't see it. Woo, it's getting hot. All right. All right, as a reminder, if you ordered Rotary gear, you can pick it up after the meeting. The gear will be downstairs. So you pick that up before you put away your badge for the day. Looking forward to seeing everybody wearing their new apparel to show off their Rotary Club of York pride. And now at this time, I invite our executive director, the one and only Lynn Morrison, to the podium to share some exciting news about our upcoming offsite meeting. Lynn.
Thanks, President Courtney. The word today is cozy. It's great to see everybody here to kick off a great 2025 Rotary year. Appreciate your flexibility as we adapt to this new world order for a couple of months. This gives you a great excuse to sit with people you don't usually sit with and get to talk to each other. So from a fellowship standpoint, use that. As you may recall from prior years, the Country Club of York is usually closed completely for a week in January. So this year, they don't want us here at all for the week that we will have our January 29th meeting. We'll be in this situation for a couple of months, but that week we're going to be going off site again. And we're fortunate this year that our friends from York College have invited us to host our meeting on the January 29th at York College. We're going to be in the York View room, which we've been in a couple of times before, up on the top of the Wilman Business Center, beautiful room. We'll have our program there and enjoy lunch there that day. Our speaker, kind of fittingly that day, is going to be from York College, Dr. Steve Jacob. Steve's the director of the Center for Community Engagement at York College. He's part of a team that works on improving economic and social well-being by extending York College's research and technical knowledge to the citizens of York County. Steve will share York College's overall engagement strategy and how the Center for Community Engagement contributes to this mission. As always, when we take our meetings on the road for an away game, we ask that you register in advance to attend. And by you, I mean you, all of you, not you who think you're special and don't have to sign up and can just show up. I mean, all of you. We also will expect to have room for plenty of guests that day. So if you're looking to bring guests, that might be a good time to bring a guest this quarter. You'll find a link to sign up and register for this meeting in your announcer in the next couple of weeks. You'll also find it in the QR codes that are on your table as well. As of this morning, we already had 30 people signed up. So, go to it. Appreciate it. And if you have any questions about it, let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Lynn. And now I invite the Chair of Membership Engagement Committee, Chris Toft, to the podium to share some exciting updates with you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Next week, we will be having there we go. We will be having a networking event at Suburban Bolorama Tuesday afternoon from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. As you can see up there, $25 per person. That gets you pretzels, chips, whatever other snacks they dump in a bowl, soft drinks, shoes, your ball, and of course the time on the lanes. So 2 full hours. I will tell you, we already have 19 people signed up for the event next week.
We can handle up to 310, so feel free to register. We're not running out of room. Okay, and as you see up there right now, I'm saying no experience is necessary, less experience is preferred, and wear as ugly a bowling shirt as you can possibly find. You all have gotten an email with the invite on it and the registration link to it. If you are having trouble finding that, if you're like me and any email that came more than 22 minutes ago, I'll never see again. You can always just reach out and either send me a text message or an email message. And if I catch it in the first 22 minutes, I'll register you for it. So that's all we've got, and look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday. Thank you.
That was our second Rotarian engaged couple in the last year. So exciting. Chris and Heather, and then Ben and Fran. Oh, August 31st. You're all invited, Chris said. All right, great. Can't wait, Chris. Oh, I'm picking up the tab. Okay, great. Not excited for that part. Okay. Now I would like to invite past president Josh George to the podium, and we are going to induct some new members to our club.
Thank you, President Courtney. Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. I did this wrong because I'm sitting over there, and apparently you have to come in from the secret hallway back here to get to the podium, but it's okay. And we're also trying to fit in 5 new members today on the first meeting in this new format. So what a good way to start the year. And I'm glad we could squeeze everybody in. Hopefully we did not have to kick out 5 existing members to get these 5 new members in. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our 5 new members today. We go in alphabetical order. We start with Lisa Barshinger. Lisa, smile and wave. Some of you may remember Lisa was a member of our club a few years ago, and she is now back, which is great to see. She is a graduate of McCaskey High School and attended Millersville University. She is the executive director for White Rose Leadership Institute, having recently taken that role from our friend and former Rotarian Megan Given. She involved in the community. She is the past president of the West York Area Education Foundation. She is a past chair and current ambassador for the York County Economic Alliance Ambassador Program, and she's been a volunteer at Junior Achievement. Her hobbies include supporting her kids' activities, which are numerous, sports and such. She enjoys traveling. She's a Philadelphia sports fanatic, and she enjoys cricketing, not the Patty Rooney kind of cricketing, but this is the cutting of vinyl and other materials that you put on shirts, mugs, cups, whatever you'd like to put it on. Look it up if you don't know what it is. She's married to Ron. They are the parents of 2 kids, Jaden, who is 14, and Carter, who is 12. As I said, she's a past president of or past member rather, of our club. And she was also a member of York North at one point. And she is proposed for membership by Jason McSherry. Ladies and gentlemen, Lisa Barshinger. Next, Katie Caples. Katie, smile and wave. Katie is a graduate of North Hartford High School and went on to Frostburg State University, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. She is the ECHO Director for Community Connections for Children. Her community service includes being a member of the Women's Business Center organization, a graduate of the Leadership Training Program through Leadership York, and she's a past board member at Child Care Consultants. Her hobbies include reading, camping, hiking, and traveling. She's married to Robert, and they are the parents of Addison, who is 10, and Lauren, who is 7. And she is also a past Rotary member, having been in the Hanover Rotary Club. And she is proposed for membership by Christy Rangillian. Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Caples. Next, we have Jennifer J.P. Clancy. Jennifer, smile and wave for everybody. Hopefully, if you've known Jennifer, it's not because you've stood in front of her trying to plead a traffic ticket in the District Justice Court here in the Spring Garden Township area, but that is her day-to-day job. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, do not use your friendship in Rotary to try to get out of the ticket. Just pay the ticket and move on. Jennifer's a graduate of Southwestern Central High School in Jamestown, New York, and she went on to Messiah University, where she earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science, and then she went to Dickinson, where she earned her law degree. As I said, she's a magisterial district justice. Her area includes Spring Garden Township, North York Borough, and a little bit of the surrounding area of the city. And her employer is technically the Administrative Office of the Pennsylvania Courts. Her community service includes being a member of the Pennsylvania Judicial Ethics Advisory Board. She's a past president of the Special Courts Judges Association, and she's a founding member of the Messiah Law Professions Council. Her hobbies include hiking, traveling, kayaking, and cooking. She is the mother of 3 adult children, Jessica, who is 27, Samantha, who is 26, and Alexandra, who is 22. And she is proposed for membership by Bob Jinsenius. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Clancy. And on this day of engagement news, our next new member is Reed Gunderson. Reed becomes, I believe, the 5th married couple in the Rotary Club, being married to Natalie Gunderson. Reed is a graduate of Dallastown Area High School and went on to Lock Haven University, where he earned degrees, a bachelor's degree in sports administration and a master's degree in sports and exercise psychology. He is employed by Rock Commercial Real Estate, where he serves as a brokerage advisor. His community service includes being a board member of the Dallastown Area Education Foundation. He's a former board member of Family First Health, and he is a former board member for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. His hobbies include golf, archery, fishing, and I love this one, hosting whiskey tastings. I think he's got 300 friends. He is married to Natalie, and they are the parents of Viviana, who is 2, and Reed II, who is 2 months. So brand new baby. And he is proposed for membership by past President Jackie Summers. Ladies and gentlemen, Reed Gunderson. And on this day of 5 new members, we finish up with Garrison Markey. Smile and wave. Garrison is a graduate of Central York High School and went on to Bloomsburg University, where he earned his Bachelor of Science in Political Science. He is the corporate sales director of To the T Outfitters. We personally use To the T, and I can wholeheartedly recommend them. He would be happy to serve you with t-shirts, mugs, cups, hats, anything that needs a logo on it. But this is not a commercial. I'm not really supposed to do that, so you can thank me later. His community service includes being a volunteer for the 21 Turkey Salute, which if you don't know what it is, look it up. It's very cool. And he is also a volunteer at St. Matt's Church Youth Center. His hobbies include golf, reading, Penn State sports, and playing cornhole. And it may come as no surprise that he will be joining our Rotary committee for the fundraiser to participate in the Cornhole Fund come September. He is, his significant other is Alicia, and he is proposed for membership by Dan May. Ladies and gentlemen, Garrison Markey.
Reed, should we be concerned that your wife did not propose you for membership? It was Jackie Summers. Yeah. Oh, anyways, but to everybody, welcome to our Rotary Club. We're thrilled to have you join us. Here you'll find a community dedicated to making a positive impact both locally and globally. Your unique talents and perspectives will be invaluable as we work together on meaningful projects and initiatives. Welcome aboard, and let's make a difference together. Members, please help me welcome our new members. And now I invite Matt Summer to the podium to introduce our program for today.
Thank you, President Courtney. It's been a while since I've been up here at the podium, a long while, but it's great to see you all, or at least the half of you that are in this room. It was funnier when I didn't realize they'd be like in the adjacent room, and I saw most of them anyway, but hey, this is great. And I echo the accolades for how we're pulling this off in the new space. Put a tie on today too. Don't do that too often. I was trying to decide if I had worn one since COVID or not, but I wanted to go with blue and white per the speaker today, obviously, and then also in consideration of the fact that it is Orange Bowl Eve after all. Very exciting. So yeah, it's an honor to introduce you to Dr. Marilyn Wells. She began her tenure as the regional chancellor for Penn State Brandywine, Mont, Alto, and York in July of this year. She's a strategic and visionary leader, is bold and centered on people. Prior to her appointment as regional chancellor, she served in the chancellor capacity for the Brandywine campus. So she is familiar certainly with the Penn State system, leading that campus to numerous achievements related to strategic planning, enrollment growth, new academic programs, diversity and belonging, board engagement, and the list goes on. Her distinguished career in higher ed has spanned multiple universities in numerous states, and it's unique that she's also held roles in the private sector business, specifically in the healthcare and hospitality space. as well as she's worked in state government as well. So she brings a really, I think, unique background of academia, business, and government, which is quite helpful. In her personal life, and I didn't know a lot of this until I received the bio, she enjoys museums, theaters, and baking pies. And a fun fact is that she once went skydiving with the U.S. Army's Golden Knights. So pretty interesting. She's really excited to speak here today. I don't know where it stands, but she has expressed some interest in joining our club as she assimilates to York. So hopefully she'll be here sometime soon going through that with Josh. But with that, I'll introduce Dr. Wells.
Thank you, Matt, for that warm introduction. Matt told me we were not in the ballroom, so I didn't wear my ball gown, and he shows up with a tie. But it is a pleasure to be here, and congratulations to the new members, and thank you to everyone involved in today's program. I'm really excited to share a little bit with you, a little bit more about myself. I'll share a little bit with you. I'm sure many of you have heard about sweeping changes across Penn State, and of greatest interest, what is happening at York, Penn State York. This is exciting. And hopefully have lots of time for questions. So, as a child, I grew up in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. The ship or boat in the upper left-hand corner is the ship that my great-grandmother and grandmother emigrated to the United States on. My great-grandfather came before World War I. So I'm only a second-generation American and a first to go to college. Pittsburgh at the time I was growing up was very much a steel city. It's a city that has also transformed over the years. And my mom and dad saved every penny and lived every breath that my brother and I could go to college, had us taking piano lessons and Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, swimming lessons, all of those kinds of things. And like some of you are new members, I attended one of the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education universities, along with Bloomsburg, Lock Haven, Millersville. I received my undergraduate degree at IUP. Oops. That's a fast one. In terms of my higher education experience, both as a faculty member and administrator, I have served at a variety of institutions, public, East Stroudsburg, state affiliated, Penn State. I've served at 2 private institutions, a College of William and Mary, and the longest part of my academic career was at Hampton University, which is a private historically Black university in southeastern Virginia. If you've seen the movie Hidden Figures, that's right all where it took place. And one of those characters, one of the figures in the movie actually was a Hampton grad and worked at Hampton. I've been honored throughout my career for individuals to nominate me to participate in a wide variety of leadership programs. Each one has been unique. One in particular that stands out was I did the Educational Policy Fellowship Program here in Pennsylvania. We studied for a week at the U.S. Army War College. Okay. But I did not take the course in PowerPoint slides. Okay. I myself have 2 children. My husband and I had 2 children. My son is 33. My daughter is 23. My daughter is a kindergarten teacher in Florida. She just graduated from college last year. I take great pride. One of the reasons I was interested in moving back to Pennsylvania was to spend more time with my great nieces and nephew. And in the middle and the bottom is my significant other, Roy, who lives near the Penn State Mont Alto campus. And as you can see, my son inherits his mother's personality and sass by the glasses he wore to his graduation from Slippery Rock University. I believe that sometimes if you ask someone what their favorite quotes are, that they tell something about their values and their purpose and find meaning. So I'm going to share with you a few of my favorite quotes. One of them is, as a higher ed leader, our students tell our story. We exist for our students and the difference they'll make in their own lives and their own families and their future. So if you want to see what we are all about at Penn State York or any of the campuses, Our students best tell their story while they're with us and as they go on and live their lives afterwards. One of my mentors or people that I look up to, role models, is Dr. Freeman Habrowski, who was a very longstanding president of University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And I've heard him speak a number of times, and he's just one of those speakers that's so inspiring. And he said, as a university president, he needs to be just as concerned about what the second graders are in the local school districts as they are about his PhD students in physics, and really believes that higher education matters and is relevant. And I think that's more so today than ever, when the public sentiment is not always in favor of higher education. Given where we are in higher education and Penn State in particular, we're going through a lot of changes, a lot of financial changes, demographic shifts, our enrollments are challenged, but the hard thing to do and the right thing to do are almost always the same thing. And if we think about our own lives and decisions we've made, and so that's where we are at Penn State York and across Penn State. We're doing a lot of hard things, and they may not feel right in the moment, but they are the right thing in the long run. And then it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change. So I think how the campuses embrace these changes will really shape our futures. So a little bit about Penn State York and the Commonwealth campuses. There's been a lot of big changes across Penn State and the Commonwealth campuses. Penn State was hit particularly by the pandemic, as well as many other fiscal changes, declining state funding, shifts in enrollment, and we must have a balanced budget and go forward as a sustainable university. We cannot run on deficit spending or relying solely on fundraising. At Penn State York, we've had significant enrollment changes. Our enrollment is down 25% compared to 5 years ago, 40% down from 10 years ago. And this is not uncharacteristic of higher education around the nation. In the Philadelphia region alone, 4 colleges have closed within the last year. As a part of the solution, Penn State offered a voluntary separation incentive program to employees at the Commonwealth campuses. At York, 29% of our staff participated and 10% of our faculty, but we are rehiring strategically. Some of those positions we're replacing exactly as we had. Others we're redesigning and reimagining for where we're going. So that has been another big change. We've also implemented optimized service teams, kind of some matrix in organizational structures. We adopted the regional leadership structure as some of the chancellors participated in, what we call the VSIP. And you can see the Southeast region is where I am, which is the largest of the 4 regions in terms of campus facilities, geographic spread, as well as enrollment. Some of you may have participated in our Future State Design Initiative, our academic programs and strategic. So that's not all of the changes, but higher education typically moves slow, and that's a lot of changes in a very short period of time. Particularly for the Future State Initiative, all of the campuses have done many of the same programs, and we realize that they need to be unique. Our mission is to serve our regions in which we're located. And so we really need to identify what is each campus and what region, what are we really excellent in? For example, Penn State Mont Alto is very well known as one of the first forestry academies in the country and consistently places at winning international competitions. And we also, again, need to be innovative for a sustainable future. Part of this for the campuses, we're now going into phase 2. I'll say for the regional charrettes, if you don't know what that word is, it means a focus group, brought in external stakeholders. And we had a number of individuals from the York region who participated representing manufacturing, finance, investment, other types of industries, and looking at where is York today and where do we need to be next year, 3 years, 5 years into the future to be fiscally sustainable and to serve our region. So what did that tell us about Penn State York? Each one is say, what are we really great at? What are we unique in? You can see we are really, York, good for preparing students for both entering careers as well as graduate school. And our academic programs span 5 major areas: business, biology, human development, engineering, and information technology. York stands out with nationally recognized programs across the lifespan, and I'll dive a little bit more into each of these. And we have very welcoming, modern, collaborative, technologically advanced facilities. Of the 3 campuses, York really has it in that space. So I'm not going to read through these, but some of you may not be aware of the degree programs we offer. I think one thing you know at York is the associate degrees. Today, where families are very concerned about the cost of higher education, students can come in 2 years with less debt and so forth, enter careers that are very high paying careers. Some do go on to get bachelor's degrees, but I think that's a part of our story that we haven't told well enough. We also have a lot of specialized program like our Graham Fellows program, and you see the students with their medals and medallions there. Some other areas of excellence, I mentioned our BS in biology program. One thing I'll highlight here, 1 out of 3 of our students goes on to medical school, dental school, veterinary school, which is more competitive than medical school. Many institutions would die to have that kind of stat of 1 out of 3 students who want to going into those fields. And 40% of the careers in their fields right out the gate. But that's really something that is unique and special and awesome about York. Also, Penn State York has a chapter, a group of the future business leaders of America. And our students won 16 national awards in this past year. Those were in competitions around finance, accounting, entrepreneurship, business ethics, emerging topics in business. And you can see our award winners from last year. Even more impressive, when you look at the students we serve, 1 student had never been on a plane before. 1 student didn't speak English 5 years ago. So we are truly transforming lives. And when they win these national awards, one of our students graduated in December, is being highly sought after by national companies. And again, those are stories that we need to continually tell even more so. Our Osher Lifelong Learning Institute is only 124 institutions in the nation have an OLLI. And at Penn State York, we have over 800 individuals who are members of OLLI, who are continuing their learning and making a huge difference. And that's a standout for York amongst the campuses. Our assets also include our facilities. You see up there the Pullo Center, which is celebrating its 20th year this year. And contrary to myths and rumors out there, we have not sold it. We're not closing it. We have a very vibrant future plan for the Pullo. Want to make it as a learning laboratory for students of all majors. For example, students majoring in business can learn about marketing and ticketing masters and venue management. And our engineering and electrical engineering students can learn about theater lighting, and the list goes on. We have 2 students doing internships this semester around volunteer management and so forth. We have our Graham Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We have our community room, our conference room, our sport and athletic facilities. All of these are available for rent and use by the community. And that's something that we want to do more of to bring in additional revenues and also provide great places for people in our community. And of course, many of you are familiar or participated with our Penn State York Women's Philanthropic Network. That's been at a quieter point the last few months as we go through some leader changes, but that will continue to be a very vibrant part of our campus. And I know Di Hershey is here today, who is, that's one of her legacies, if you will. As we look, another area that we want to focus on is meeting regional workforce demand. And growing student enrollment, not growing student enrollment for the sake of growing enrollment, but to achieve how are we meeting the needs of York. As I was in the Better York meeting on Monday afternoon and hearing about crime in this area and housing and homelessness, what can we be doing more as a campus to be a part of the most pressing issues facing York? In terms of growing our enrollment, welcome all of you. I bet you all learned something new about Penn State York today. Go home and tell 3 people. Help build our connections with K-12 and youth programs. We can use many of you as mentors for our programs, either in the classroom or out of the classroom. One of our goals is to grow Penn State York athletics. Many students choose the Commonwealth campus so they can continue to participate in athletics. Housing partnerships. We are a non-residential campus at York, and to grow, we really need to explore some housing options, and we've begun some of those conversations. Many of our students are very bright, but they're very financially challenged. So working together as we bring on our next director of development to even grow more scholarships. I think another thing that's phenomenal about York is across the campus, we have over 150 partnerships with public and private entities and organizations in these different areas. And oftentimes they're with youth, as you see there with our STEAM Academy, helping students to choose careers. And we've now hired a full-time director for our York Launchbox and looking for even expanding our partnerships there. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging is very, very important in York, and the campus has had this statement. Currently at York, we are over 700 students. Our largest group of underrepresented students is from Hispanic racially and ethnically. And so that's very, very important to who we are and what we do. Ophelia Chambliss, who's here today, is our director of our Center for Inclusive Leadership. And we also look at diversity in a broad sense, for example, by gender and women. Ophelia did a fantastic presentation about the glass ceiling for our students in the community back in November. As a Penn State Commonwealth Campus, we all work together to serve Penn State's 4 university goals that have just been introduced. Enhancing student success. We have a very different student profile than University Park. Our students are just as bright and smart, but the average family income of our students is less than half what it is of a University Park student. Many of our students, most of our students, are the first in their family to go to college, where many University Park students are 3rd, 4th, 5th generation Penn Staters. Growing our interdisciplinary research excellence, and particularly looking at research that's going to make a difference in our community. Increasing our land grant impact, and again, fostering diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So each of the Commonwealth campuses in their own ways will support the university's broader goals. President Neely Bendapudi in her holiday greeting kind of put up this word graphic about what Penn State represents. And you certainly see students jumping out first and foremost, and how we're making the difference in our communities. So with that, another picture of our Future Business Leader America students. We're very proud of our athletics, that we have a partnership with York Revolution, and they play in Wellspan Park. So let me pause there and open it up for your questions. Thank you. We have a microphone coming around giving the new arrangement, as well as so our friends on Zoom can hear us.
Thank you, Dr. Wells. That was quite informative for me anyway. When you say that your occupancy or your participation is down 40% in terms of student occupancy since 2020 or something, does that mean those students are filling up the beds at Penn State main campus, or are they also down 40%?
Very good question. It's 40% down from a decade ago, from 2013. This is a nationwide trend facing higher education. We are long past the baby boom. There are far fewer 18-year-olds today than when I went to college. And so almost every university in the nation has less enrollment today than in the past. Penn State overall has less enrollment. And as I mentioned earlier, many universities are closing their doors because they just don't have the students. Our operating budget is largely tuition driven. And we do get some support from the state, but I would say that Penn State York, compared to the 24 Commonwealth campuses or the 20 Commonwealth campuses, is about in the middle in terms of how the enrollment has shifted. But this is, I'll also add, not only are there fewer 18-year-olds today, but fewer 18-year-old high school graduates are going to college. Public sentiment is, why should you go to college, incur all this debt, and have an uncertain job? And so families are choosing trade schools, which we definitely need the trades. My son just switched careers and is going into the trades. Students are pursuing 2-year degrees. So I think all of you, we need to tell why get a college degree and why get a college degree from Penn State. So University Parks is down a little bit, but this is the profile for York. And there's many factors that play into that. And you look at any institution today, enrollment. And enrollment is just not new students coming in each fall, but for students who begin their education, how do they have the means to go for all 4 years? When I started at Brandywine, at the end of the fall semester, over 10% of our students couldn't come back for the spring because they couldn't pay the bill for fall. We've worked very, very hard on that and reduced it down to 2.9%, which means 164 more students can continue their education. So we need to make it ways that our students can afford education. So all those factors play into it. Institutions that are really succeeding are institutions that are serving the students of today, which look very different age-wise, racially, ethnically, language-wise, and institutions that can be strong in the DEIB space are doing better, and so forth.
Thank you for your presentation. Our club's mission is to serve the city in particular.
Mm-hmm.
What is Penn State York doing to reach students in York City?
One of the areas where we have regionalized our leadership is a regional approach to enrollment. The Commonwealth campuses have always had like service areas, like counties in which they were to recruit, and we're softening those lines a little bit as we have unique programs. For example, this nation has a shortage of nursing. Penn State Mont Alto has a nursing program. They have empty seats in their nursing program and empty beds in their residence hall. We get a lot of students coming to Brandywine wanting nursing. How do we tell them better? Go to York, and keep them with Penn State. So in particular, we have a new regional director for enrollment management who's working with our new admissions team. A very large part of our serving students in the city of York is working with those youth in K-12 and pipeline programs. York has great facilities. One of the areas the campus brings a lot of youth to campus, whether it's for the first team robotics competition, whether it's for Encore with a polo center, whether it's through sports, we bring a lot of students to campus. Where we're going to focus is how do we put the admissions team in front of them in soft and gentle ways as they're young, kids. Think about college, think about Penn State York. These are the kinds of careers you can do, and really zeroing in on the high schools and the communities where students are likely to choose York, and so forth. So those are some of the things that we're doing more of. I know many of my directors and faculty across campus are doing a lot of things, and I'm too just in the beginning of those. But we certainly, I think importantly, I want to hear your ideas. How can we better serve the young people of York in finding their way to college, and particularly to Penn State York or one of our regional campuses? Two good questions.
Hi, I'm from the other room.
Okay.
Dr. Wells, it's so nice of you to be here. Thank you so much and welcome here.
Thank you.
I'm with the Cultural Alliance of York County, so I'm going to ask the question about the Pulo Center. It is a very valued performing arts center for many of our community groups. And as you alluded to, there's been a lot of whispers and talk. So can you talk a little bit more concretely about plans on staffing changes that have happened there and how you can see community groups being able to continuously hold their events there?
Right. Excellent question. I know one that's front and center in many people's mind. Absolutely. The Pulo Center is a huge asset of the campus. It's very distinct facility in its technology and so forth. We have a new director, interim at this point, Anita Crawford. She has been working at the Mont Alto campus in our strategic communications area, but she has over a 20-year history working in the entertainment industry, in particular with artists and music festivals and things of that nature. So she's been in place working with the team throughout the fall and began full-time January 1 when the last of our employees separated with the voluntary separation incentive program. We also have our new technical director, which is a critical position for that. In terms of staffing, we also have 2 full-time student interns this semester because we want the Polo to serve the community, but we also want it to be a learning laboratory for students. So one of the students doing a full-time internship is an integrative arts major from Penn State Abington with a double major in business. And one of the student interns is one of our Penn State York students who's getting a degree in human development and family studies, but also sings and writes and produces music and getting other students involved in other ways. Our staffing needs to align to what our mission is. And the Polo Center has 20 years of greatness, but think of all of your organizations and lives, how we need to continually change and be at the forefront. We do have touring shows, Broadway shows that we bring in. That's one thing. And making sure that we have a fresh lineup that appeals to families and people of all ages and all the population in our area. We also rent the facility to everything from dance companies and other types of things. Another area that we do is because of the technology in the Polo, we are a great location for the technical rehearsals, like 'Twas the Night Before Cirque du Soleil's, which was here for a month. We're going to continue to do those, but we also want it to be more available to the students and faculty on our campus. It's something, Penn State only has 4 performing arts centers across its 24 campuses. We have 1. And so how do we draw in faculty in the arts and the creative fields from other campuses for it to be a place for their creative productions and other kinds of things? So as we roll out and begin to have conversations about our new directions, that will help to shape what the staffing should be. And the Polo Center does need to be fiscally sustainable. We had a very generous gifts and philanthropists over the years that made it possible, but it too needs to be fiscally sustainable and looking at it in that way. So that's where we are today. Again, we will be convening groups both on campus and more broadly for people to participate in the conversations on the future of the Polo Center. I'll add another piece is, as a 20-year-old facility, 20-year young facility, how do we maintain some of the things that begun to wear out, speakers and lighting, and how do we make sure that it is really a modern facility? So it's a very proud part of the campus. It's a very proud part of the Commonwealth campuses, and how do we invest and continue to grow and evolve the Polo Center?
One of the university goals you showed was increasing land grant impact. What does that mean in this day and age for the university as a whole, but for your region and York in particular?
Increasing land grant impact, that's academic language, if you will. It's how are we improving economic development, quality of life, effectiveness and efficiency in the regions in which we serve. So I referenced earlier that Monday afternoon, I was at the Better York meeting, hearing about the challenges with crime and safety, housing, economic development. And for me, that means how can we get our students more involved in volunteering with those organizations? How can we get our faculty connected so that they're doing research or scholarly work or projects that make a difference right here in York? How can we have a very vibrant advisory board at Penn State York. We also have industry advisory councils. How can we get more of you to inform us? Our purpose is to serve York, and how do we listen better and hear more on what that means? And so what that land grant impact would be here in York is going to be different than in the Mont Alto region, Franklin County, and as well as in Delaware and Chester and Montgomery County. But how do we make that difference? We do know that students who graduate from the Commonwealth campuses are far more likely to stay in their region than, say, students who attend University Park. So by graduating students, getting them internships here, getting them connected with mentors here, they're more likely to stay in this region and make a difference in economics, quality of life, all of those types of things. So that's where we're really focusing in.
What criteria will the university use to determine the ongoing viability of the campuses, and how does York compare in there?
When we look at viability, in part, we can interpret that in several ways in terms of enrollment, in terms of the fiscal sustainability of the campus. we keep students at the center. And so some of our campuses have 200-300 students. York is at 400. They vary in size. We want all students to have an equitable, high quality experience at whatever campus they're at. And whether that's advising, academic programs, and other types of things. So certainly enrollment is one piece of that. Again, tuition follows enrollment. And so looking at the, can a campus, I'll say stand alone, if they had to operate just on the tuition that they brought in, could they do that? We do get additional funding from the university, but you also have to look at what's that tipping point when a campus is getting significant additional funding from the university, and how does that maybe take money away from other areas that can really grow and invest? So looking at we're going through this future state initiative now. Part of that is also what's the academic programs we offer. You know, we've heard many campuses say, well, we could really grow if only we could offer a program in, and maybe our own internal hands have tied it. So the university's retained consultants and has a lot of groups going on and saying, what new programs do we need to add to the campus to meet the regional economic needs, and how can that contribute to the viability of the campus?
Hi, I just wanted to highlight something that I saw firsthand of what Penn State York is doing for the community. As a teacher, I would bring a group of 7th grade girls every year to your Pathways program for STEM careers. And it's a ginormous undertaking, bringing professionals from all over the county and students from all over. And so many of those girls went on to go to college for STEM careers. And so it just made a ginormous impact. So I just wanted to thank you for that, for doing that for our community.
Thank you. Thank you. We cannot underestimate the power of those experiences for our young individuals. I'm sure all of us in this room had some of those, and we need to do more of this, but thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wells, for sharing your vision of the future state initiative and its potential impact on Penn State York, and our region. Your leadership in fostering collaboration and innovation is inspiring, and we're excited to see how this transformation will benefit our York community. Let's all give Dr. Wells another warm round of applause. And as you all know, instead of giving our speakers a gift, we purchase a book and we ask them to sign the bookplate, and we donate it locally. This week's book will be donated to York Early Day Learning Center in York City, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. Next week, our speaker will be Sean Lovelady. Sean is the CEO of OSS Health. He will speak on the organization's evolution of orthopedic care in York and the surrounding areas. He will discuss plans to expand service offerings, their ongoing commitment to being a strong community partner, and the challenges and opportunities that exist in today's healthcare industry. This meeting is now adjourned.